What up? This is Ace OG. Back on the topic, back on the video. So the title of this video is going to be Young Black Men Need Men. So admin notes, thanks again to all subscribe to the channel. I endeavor to keep pushing the video out. Give you leverage, the better yourselves. So it's going to be my second time trying to do this video. I actually did this video today during lunchtime in DC. And went back home, went back to the job, and I had like 50 minutes left for lunch. So let me go ahead and do my edits and see if I can push it out before lunch ends. And long story short, I'm going back and forth between phones, and I accidentally deleted the video. So that was a good video too, because it's bad enough that I try to articulate myself as best as possible in video. And then this particular video I did at the scenery in the background was awesome. I was hitting a lot of good points on it. I mean, I was rocking on the video, and it's gone. So anyway, part 2. So hopefully I'll be able to articulate and bring the same energy I did with that first video. So let's get into it. So why do I say that young black men need men? It's very simple. It's not complicated. Single black women that don't have a man in their life cannot expect to raise young black boys to be men. That's just the bottom line, point blank, period. Now, I do understand that the dynamic of the man may be in jail, he may be deceased, possibly, hopefully he isn't. He may be a deadbeat, he may be abusive, all these things, right? And we both have decisions when it comes to who we lay down with, whether it be the man or the woman, right? But it pains me to see a lot of young black women, and just black women in general, that are single without men in their lives, that think that they can really raise their son to be men. Now, you can instill core values and core beliefs and good morals, all these things into your boy, into your son, but at the end of the day, you cannot teach that boy to be a man at all. And the reason, and the basic reason is because you're not a man. You don't experience the man experience. So there's no way you can raise your son to be a man. It'd be the same thing with my daughter. I have a daughter now, right? So, Lord forbid if something would happen to my wife, there's no way that I can expect myself to raise my daughter to be a woman. Now, I'll definitely still raise my daughter, no doubt, because she's my daughter. But I'll have to default to my sister-in-law, her aunt, to teach her the things and the ways of how to be a woman. Because as a man, I can't teach her that, because I don't know the woman experience. Just like women don't understand the man experience. And I see this stuff all the time. I see this stuff on my comments and my videos. I see it on social media. I see it in news outlets where you got men out here, young boys, young men, being feminine. And I'm not talking about the LGBTQ plus community. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about men that actually they're heterosexual, but they have feminine traits. They have feminine ways with them. So if you put your hands on your woman, that's a feminine trait. If you really believe in the 50-50 situation where you go 50-50 with your woman, that's a feminine trait. If you are in a situation where you're letting the woman take charge of certain things in your relationship, that's a feminine trait on your part. And a lot of times, no offense to the single black women, but I mean, a lot of times these things derive from single black women trying to raise their sons to be men. And every time I see things like this on social media and in news outlets and just in person, I'm saying it, the first thing I think of is, where's your dad at? Where's your father at? Where's these men at that need to take care of their sons, need to raise their sons? It's crazy, and it's equal blame on the woman and the man, because at the end of the day, if you lay down with a woman talking to men, or if a woman lays down with a man talking to women, right? Regardless of what the situation is, you have to expect that a baby could possibly come about with the situation you were in at the time. So in that sense, you have to really vet and really understand and trust who you lay down with. Now, personally, I don't advocate anybody laying down with anybody until you get married. But in 2024, that's not reality for a lot of folks, and I totally understand that, right? But at the end of the day, you know, what the sexual energy you put out towards another person and you actually become intimate, you have to guard that. You can't just be going out here just willy-nilly just screwing everybody. You can't do that, because the result is always that a baby is going to be a result of that. And if that's the case, and you know, and you're a woman and you know that the guy you're messing with is a live wire or somebody that's not trustworthy, but because of their bravado, you're attracted to them, but you want to have sex with them, but don't want to have a baby with them. But all of a sudden something happens and you do have a baby, then it's like there is a level of responsibility on your part that you lay down with this guy. And the same thing with a guy. You know, if you lay down with a woman, you have to be responsible for what happens with that. And what happens sometimes is a baby may result in that. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of men out here acting feminine that leave their woman that they impregnated, and they just run off and just not, you know, they don't want to accept the responsibility. That's feminine trait, y'all. Don't get it twisted. If you run off on the woman that you had a baby with, regardless of whether y'all dating, regardless of y'all boyfriend and girlfriend, regardless of y'all wife, husband and wife, that's a feminine trait, because what you're doing is you're saying you're scared to handle the responsibility of being a parent. That's a feminine trait for a guy. It really is, because at the end of the day, whatever you put your seed at, you have to make sure that you watch it grow. You have to nurture it. That's just the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? If you decide to lay down with a woman, the result is you may have a child, regardless of whether it be a man, regardless of be a boy child or a girl child. Now, this video is really talking about boy children, because at the end of the day, you know, we as a black community are failing our young black men. We really are. And I really put a lot of blame on the men. I put a lot of blame on black men that are having babies with these women and they're not taking care of their responsibilities. And you know, at the end of the day, you know, you can be a stand-up guy and pay child support and, you know, have visitation, you know, those other things or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's nothing like, you know, raising a boy in the same household as you. There's nothing like that. There's no getting around that. I'm not saying that you're supposed to like neglect your responsibilities, and even though you and your child's mother is not on the same page and you guys can't be together and you just have visitation rights, I'm not saying you're supposed to neglect your responsibility of trying to raise your son. But at the end of the day, you know, regardless is a situation like that, or you're in the household with your son, you have to make sure that you actually raise him right. Because a lot of dysfunction when it comes to young black men comes from their fathers not being there to guide them. You know, and I guess I can speak this from a personal perspective, because I was raised by my mom and my grandmother, right? And, you know, regardless of how masculine they were, and regardless how, you know, street they were, at the end of the day, they didn't raise me to be a man. They raised me with morals. They raised me to be responsible, all these other things, but they couldn't raise me to be a man. You know who raised me? The streets. The streets raised me how to be a man. And that wasn't the very optimal way of being raised as a man. It really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of deprogramming that I had to do when it came to being a man, because I was raised off of men in the streets that weren't my father, that didn't have my best interests or whatever, but they did instill in me in terms of 42. They did instill in me that, you know, nobody's going to be here to save you. No woman's going to be here to save you, and you have to go out there and get it. But there was a lot of negative connotations when it came to how they raised me in the streets. So when I joined the Army, I had to kind of like, you know, pivot away from that, because there's a lot of deprogramming that needed to happen, because my mentality and how I thought about the world was not right. It wasn't an optimal way of how you're supposed to move it as a man. And the way that could have been mitigated is if my father was there to take care of me and raise me, and he wasn't there. Rest in peace to my father. You know what I'm saying? He passed away when I was 23. Right. And, you know, he didn't raise me. And, you know, I'm not exactly sure what the situation was with him and my mom. I have an idea, and I've been told certain things, but, you know, that was, as what the old folks say, it's grown folks business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may never know what happened between them, the real story. I may never know. Right. And, you know, it could have been a situation where he did try to come back and try to raise me and try to be in my life. And my mom could have blocked him from doing that. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. But at the end of the day, he was not there. And he was alive right now, I would tell him that, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's not for me to make him feel bad or anything like that with it. It's just that, you know, as a boy, I needed my father. I needed that guidance. I needed my father to be in my life. And if you're a guy watching this video right now and you have a son out there or sons that you're not taking care of and you're not seeing, then you should be ashamed of yourself. If you're not trying to make an effort to see them. Now, if you're trying to make an effort to see them, that's different. But if you're intentionally avoiding your sons, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like bottom line, like that's not being a man, that's being feminine. But this video is really catered towards young black men needing men. I'm telling you, young man, you need men. You need men around you. You know, I'm part of a church right now that, you know, the pastor and the lady of the house is you know, they're phenomenal. It's a church that I definitely think I'm gonna grow spiritually in that church. And there was a men's ministry get together that we had a couple Saturdays ago, and the pastor was saying, actually he's considered an apostle, and he was saying, you know, this is a safe place. It's a safe place. This is a safe place. He kept saying that the whole time we was together. And I'm saying, like, why does he keep saying that? And then I pulled him to the side later on after the get there, and I'm like, you know, Apostle, why did you keep saying it was a safe place? And he said that I kept saying it was a safe place because a lot of men don't feel like it's a safe place in their home with their wives. Let that marinate. Now, I'm not saying he's saying that there was a potential situation of violence that could have happened in the household. What he was saying was that a lot of men don't feel like they can be emotional or give an emotional vibe to their wife, to their woman in the house. And what he was saying was that the church was a safe place for men to actually bounce ideas and bounce their feelings and their emotions off of other men. Young men need that, because there's a lot of young men out here that need to cry. There's a lot of young men out here that need to have another man to confide in and to ask questions about life. Like, seriously, there's nothing wrong with a man crying. What's wrong is what you crying for the wrong reasons and not being masculine, because being masculine is understanding and knowing your limitations. And for young men, there's a lot of young men out here that are way past the limitations, because they haven't been raised by men. So once again, young men need men. They really do. Now, like I said, I had made a video before earlier today that I think I had hit on the points a lot better in that video, but hopefully I was able to articulate myself you know, at least enough for young men to understand where I'm coming from. Y'all need us, y'all. Y'all really need us, because I'm telling you, all these young men that I see in the news doing all these heinous things, like it's heartbreaking. It really is. And don't get it twisted. If you're a young black man out here, you're looked at as being an enemy. You're looked at as being dangerous. Even if you're not dangerous, you're looked at as being dangerous. And you need a mentor in your life to help you navigate life when it comes to that. You really need that, because we can't do it alone, y'all. I couldn't do it alone. I had to have help. I have a mentor right now, and I'm 46 years old. I have men that I can bounce ideas off and have them impart knowledge in me the same way I do on this channel when I'm trying to impart things in you guys. So anyways, I'm not gonna belabor the topic, but young men need men. Y'all do, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta step up and help our young men, y'all. We just got to, because we're failing. We really are. And the young men, the young black men of this generation are our future. So we gotta nurture, and we have to make sure that we protect our future by making sure that we take care of them and give them good guidance. All right. So you want me to discuss a topic or something you think benefits your channel, email me at findingfitnessfolk@gmail.com. My email address is in the description below. This is Ace OG, signing out. I'm gone.